Okay, it looks like she has no pants on, but I guarantee you she's wearing pants. Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Subliteral Network. I make art and comics, and thanks for watching. Remember to hit like and subscribe and to leave your feedback in the comments. Now, I post art daily, 5 days a week on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and this is a roundup of that work in case you missed it, with a little more detailed description added. You can read my Una the Cave Bunny comics free at radiocomics.com, and please visit my Patreon page if you'd like to support my work. All these links are in my description and bio, and please remember to watch till the end so you don't miss anything. I went through a pretty serious blacksmith girl stage, and I was drawing all these women with sledgehammers and wearing these leather aprons and pounding away at anvils. This one was drawn in Sharpie on 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I really left it open for color. I was doing that a lot at a certain point. Whenever I do these Sharpie drawings, I always figure I'm going to color them in later. And so this is, it's not, not a lot of heavy blacks on it, or a lot of hatching, just a little bit here and there. You see a lot of everything in fantasy art, that you see a lot of certain things. You see the warrior woman or the wizard, and but who's making all that armor? Who's making all those weapons? It's got to be blacksmiths. And so I just kind of saw an opportunity to do something a little bit different. So, by the way, one thing I really hated was in Pirates of the Caribbean, where Orlando Bloom comes off and says, "Well, I'm a blacksmith." The guy is as skinny as a rail. He did not seem convincing to me as a blacksmith. Somebody pounding at an anvil all day on pieces of metal would not be such a skinny, frail looking man. So I'm designing this robot, and I don't want him to look like just any other robot. I want him to have kind of a different stance. He's got the forearms and stuff, and I'm really wanting to work him out so he's got a lot of really sort of mechanical looking. I want him to be a robot, not just like drawing a human figure and saying it's a robot, or I don't want to get lazy with it. We know that a robot should be mechanical, and when I do a robot, I want him to look really mechanical, but use the shapes to try to give him some personality, or her some personality, and some real presence, and a look that says he is actually a robot. I draw tons of robot girls, but I don't draw a lot of robots, and I love doing it, and I should do more of it. But I get distracted, or I get involved in other projects that don't have the kind of robots that I want to draw. So I'm just going to have to sit down like this, make some effort, work the whole thing out, and get the kind of robots that I want to see in the comics and the other work that I'm doing. So when I do this, I'll reuse them for other pictures. It takes a while to get all the joints and to really design something cool, and to just use them once seems like a waste. So this robot is going to show up here, there, and almost everywhere. This one is small, 5.5 by 8.5 on cardstock, Sharpie and Copic pigment liners. It looks like she has no pants on, but I thought ahead while I was drawing it, and she's got like the skin-tight red bodysuit underneath there. And so when I do the color on this, I really want to I'm trying to get kind of more action hero and heroine looks, and I'm trying to do that without going into kind of the typical sort of superhero outfits that you're going to see. Anything that she has and wears and does should have a function, and shouldn't be just like, because when you're a superhero, only in The Incredibles did they ever explain a lot about where superheroes get their costumes. Like, I can't imagine that, say, someone like Peter Parker could sit there and design this fantastic looking suit. The guy is not a designer. There's just very few situations in comic books where you'll see a character have an explanation for why they've got such a terrific looking suit. If you're a superhero and say you belong to a semi-military organization, or you work for the government, or you work for somebody who designs a protective suit for you, That's that's an organic explanation of why your suit looks so great. I don't know why. Let's say, for instance, Superman. Where he's got a fantastic outfit. Who's doing all the sewing for him? You know, ostensibly his mother is supposed to have sewn his costume for him, but that is ridiculous. Unless she's an Edna Mode level designer, I don't believe that at all. Batman's suit was designed by him and Alfred, who I guess Alfred has a theatrical background, so they went for a certain effect. I mean, there's an explanation of why Batman has a suit like that. Captain America's suit was designed by the government, and I think that it's overlooked in comics because we're just kids and we read comics and we think, oh, they're cool. But this stuff bothers me, and it's stupid that it bothers me. A couple of years ago, Scholastic had a graphic novel contest that they were running. And the only problem with it for me was that they gave you about 3 weeks to do 10 pages. I had kind of a pretty good idea, kind of a steampunk interdimensional adventure. But I found that in the 3 weeks that I had, I couldn't get it to the quality that I really wanted it to be. And to top it all off, by the time I finished it, I went to the site to register it, and the whole thing just glitched out on me and didn't let me register. So this is Elizabeth, the heroine, and she was sent to her eccentric grandfather's house to basically kind of charm the old man and make sure that the rest of the family got its inheritance. And she had an extremely bad attitude about the whole affair. Jaina, the better looking half of the Wonder Twins from the Superfriends cartoon. So this is an 8.5 by 11 ink drawing I did, preparing to color it up in Procreate. I'm not sure who designed Zan and Jaina. It might have been Bob Singer, who was designing at Hanna-Barbera Cartoons at the time. Or it might have been Alex Toth, who I should probably look that up. These particular artists, especially Toth, had the ability to draw a character at any age and just have them look physically perfect. Like, he could draw Superman and he would look about kind of a mature man's age. He'd draw Wonder Woman and she would just look perfect. Although some of his initial drawings, Wonder Woman was a lot thicker in the hips. And when he would draw her on his own, off model, he would draw her that way. And it was fantastic because Alex Toth was kind of from a different generation when women were kind of depicted as being not quite so skinny. And he's such a great artist. I love his version of Wonder Woman for one thing, but I digress. I love the way that he drew and designed Jaina. You could see he did a lot of work on the storyboards for Superfriends, and she was just really perfect and very appealing. The season before Zan and Jaina, they had Wendy and Marvin, who were kind of just a couple of goofy teenagers hanging around the Hall of Justice for some reason. I have no idea what they were doing there. And I don't think anyone else does. And that dumbass dog. Frankly, Robin barely should have been in the Hall of Justice. He was just, nobody else had their sidekicks there. Green Arrow, the Flash. But Batman had to tag Robin along into the Hall of Justice. And he was barely above Wendy and Marvin.